billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim wa sallallahu ala nabiyil karim. Like you have seen right from the beginning of this engagement, this is not no different from every other engagement, parliamentary or legislative engagements. This is one committee that was created out of the wisdom of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, along with the leadership, of course, that by the mandate of the House, we are expected to come up as a committee to engage stakeholders and see how we can be able to address this age-long problem of crude oil theft, vandalization of pipelines, destruction of critical assets and infrastructure in the oil and gas sector. This is just it. And I've addressed this during the ceremonial component of this engagement. And I want to say, without any mincing words, that the kind of responses we have gotten from stakeholders, especially the stakeholders from within the NNPC, other oil and gas sector, private stakeholders, it has shown that actually we will get it right. They have given us contributions, some of them very sensitive enough that we may not likely take on the camera. And also remember that this is a committee that by the mandate of the House will enjoy what we call a quasi-judicial power, quasi-judicial status. So not everything that we have gathered so far that will now be out in the public. After all, at the end, we'll have to submit our reports, recommendations to the House. And it is on the basis of that recommendations that we'll come up with a public content report that you guys in the media can be able to actually extract and make use of. But in the meantime, I want to say that by the support and the cooperation of members of this committee, we have gone quite far and we have made insightful discoveries, very insightful, some of them very discouraging, some of them disturbing, quite some unprecedented exposures that we have gotten here. But I want to believe that with the cooperation of members and the leverage of the leadership of the House that has granted this committee to last for 4 years, to run alongside the lifetime of the House itself, we will be able to deliver on this mandate. The crux of the matter is that we must believe that for now, we do not have any other means of livelihood for Nigeria as a nation, for our economy, other than the oil and gas sector. The oil that we must have is the major product that sustains our economy. So for as long as we have this belief and we continue to have this kind of infractions all over, breakage of pipelines, vandalizations, by whatever name you call it, then definitely Nigerian government, as a democratically elected government, will continue to have issues in delivering on the mandate of the people. When we went round on campaigns, there were a lot of promises. And when we now came into government, we have to actually make deliveries on the commitments we made during the campaign. I want to believe President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is one president who is concerned about the plight of the Nigerian people. And the House of Representatives here, as it is, we are also an epicenter of the will of the people of Nigeria. So no way in, no way out. We must see to the end of this unfortunate menace. Our crude oil must not be continued to be stolen. Our infrastructure, our own assets must be kept and must be protected. And I believe we will do just that. And by the time we are able to put up the report before the House of Representatives, I want to believe that a lot of progress will be made. And on this note, I want to thank most of the stakeholders that were able to make our first day today. And I believe the second day coming up tomorrow will also be very fruitful. And by so engagement with them, definitely we should be able to deliver on the mandate given to us by the House of Representatives. I wish Nigerians a very successful engagement with us. And I believe at the end of the day, we will come up with a report that will be of great and immense benefit to our people, to the government, and to all stakeholders within the oil and gas sector. One more important thing that we must have to look at is the issue of investment. Investment within and investment without, especially investors that are coming from outside Nigeria. No one would want to make investment in a country that is not safe. So when you continue to blow the whistles that we have thieves, we have crude oil thieves, we have vandalization along our pipelines and our national assets, then definitely that will be intimidating foreign investors to come in and make investments. And that will continue to militate against our development economically. So we, as members of the House of Representatives and clear stakeholders in Nigerian government today, we must make sure we create an enabling environment for the implementation of the robust PIA, the Petroleum Industry Act, which has created an enabling commercial environment for foreign investors to come and make investments. And we will make sure that the report of this committee will also do justice to the implementation of the PIA, which is a key legal framework that will help Nigerian economy prosper. I want to wish Nigeria well again. I also would like to wish President Bola Ahmed Tinubu well in the discharge of his duty as President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you, and God bless everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Very good warning, and you are welcome to this very great engagement. I have a prepared speech, Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and I will go ahead to read as such. It is with profound gratitude and honor that I welcome you all to this critical public hearing on the incessant issue of oil theft and losses within Nigeria's oil and gas sector. This special committee on oil theft was constituted late last year by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, PhD, who himself has been a committed stakeholder in the fight against crude oil theft in Nigeria. The committee was tasked with the monumental responsibility of investigating all dimensions of oil theft and losses, which include examining the actions of criminal gangs, militia groups, the populace, the local populace, company employees, and some security agencies that are alleged to be sabotaging the industry. Our ultimate aim is to employ every legislative tool to unearth the root causes of both remote and immediate factors contributing to this heinous crime, bring those complicit to justice, and develop sustainable solutions that will safeguard the integrity of our oil and gas sector and promote national development. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Speaker, our mandate encompasses a comprehensive investigation into the cause of oil theft and losses by scrutinizing our expenditures, all expenditures by government agencies aimed at combating this menace, reviewing existing legislation and proposing necessary amendments even on our laws and the PIB where necessary. We are also committed to collaborating with global partners, adopting cutting-edge technologies, and enhancing our security architecture to effectively address and eliminate crude oil theft in the hydrocarbon value chain of our oil and gas sector. To ensure a thorough investigation, our methodology includes inviting memoranda and presentations from key stakeholders within the oil and gas industry and security sector, holding investigative hearing meetings, conducting on-site visits, and engaging in further discussions with international and local oil companies, host community leaders, and relevant agencies with a view to fighting this unfortunate menace. In due course, Mr. Speaker, we will organize town hall meetings, particularly in the affected regions, and a national legislative summit with the leave of the House and the leadership to combat and foster broader engagement and sensitization amongst the stakeholders and Nigerian people. Our committee has noted several critical issues, including vessels transporting stolen crude oil undetected, collaborations among government and security agencies in illicit activities, and the inefficiency of current measures to combat oil theft in the country. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have identified that firepower and other weapons of engagement are grossly inadequate compared to the number of security operatives drafted to combat armed crude oil thieves. The NNPC Limited has reported over 900 infractions on its pipelines and delayed judicial processes have resulted in the abandonment of cases, allowing culprits to return to their criminal activities all along. The presence of high-powered illegal infrastructure for exploring and refining crude oil has significantly reduced production to about 1,300,000 per barrel, 1,300,000 barrels per day from what it used to be of about 2,500,000 barrels per day, unfortunately. In the light of these findings, our committee has resolved to enact adequate legislation, including budget allocations, to support security agencies, improve existing laws to combat crude oil theft, and collaborate with the security agencies to prioritize the protection of national assets and critical infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we also emphasize the importance of involving indigenous youth in ownership initiatives and converting seized refineries for legitimate use rather than destroying them. Our discussions with stakeholders today and those we have engaged before have revealed that oil theft is not only a significant revenue loss for the country, but also a threat to national security and regional stability. The theft is categorized into onshore losses involving sabotage of pipelines and installations for local markets, and offshore losses perpetrated by organized criminal syndicates for international buyers. Addressing this issue requires a multifaceted approach, including effective prosecution and punishment of perpetrators, better synergy amongst security agencies, maritime safety review, financial responsibility, and development of advanced technology. International collaboration is also essential to complement our efforts in this regard. Mr. Speaker, my respected colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, let me state here that the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, PhD, the Ian Zazzau, has bestowed upon this committee, which was specially created to last the lifetime of the 10th Assembly, an onerous task to holistically address the issues meticulously and propose viable solutions to the House. At this juncture, it is essential to recognize the transformative potential of the Petroleum Industry Act, the PIA, which of course is a baby of this great institution. This landmark legislation was designed to overhaul the regulatory framework of the oil and gas sector, enhance transparency and accountability, and attract investment for our economy. By aligning our efforts against oil theft with the provisions of the PIA, we can ensure that our strategies are robust, sustainable, and in line with global best practices. The Petroleum Industry Act, PIA, Mr. Speaker, offers a comprehensive framework that supports our mission to eradicate oil theft and losses, promotes the sustainable development of Nigeria's petroleum resources. Note that we will also consider amendments to existing legislation and the possibility of enacting new laws to comprehensively address all aspects of crude oil theft, impose adequate penalties, and streamline the prosecution of the process. May I underscore here that successfully combating crude oil theft will lead to a significant increase in crude oil production, while noting that some security operatives and oil sector officials may be involved in these illegal activities. I specifically acknowledge and commend the efforts of the gallant men and women of the military and paramilitary organizations and other institutional entities who have fought this fight to identify and bring the culprits to justice. I would like to, at this moment, Mr. Speaker, thank you so much for your time, despite your very tight schedule, and And I want to welcome each and every one of us that is here present with us, especially our critical stakeholders, and wishing ourselves a very fruitful and successful engagement this afternoon. I would like to put also on the record that our engagement with you, even though it's investigative in nature, using the instrumentality and the powers of the House to adopt our quasi-judicial powers in the course of investigation, I would like to put on the record that we are not here on a witch hunt mission. Nobody will be witch hunted, and everyone is expected, while presenting his submissions, to feel as free as possible, to be as honest as possible, so that this committee will be guided right in the course of our presenting our recommendations to the general membership of the House of Representatives. I would like to once again welcome you, and indeed put on record once again that where some of you who may be holding sensitive security responsibility in the discharge of your duties, and you feel some of the facts you are likely to accord us will be of help and may not necessarily be presented in public, you have the leverage to indicate that while making presentations, and will allow you to reserve sensitive information and present them in executive in the overall interest of our great nation and in the course of the discharge of our duties as a committee of the Federal House of Representatives. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you most sincerely, especially Mr. Speaker in person of the Deputy Speaker who is representing him. We are glad and proud that you are here to declare this public hearing open. Thank you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
I'm now representing the National Chairman of APC. Mr. Chairman, the National Chairman, which will have been here this morning, but unfortunately, he has to attend to other exigencies of state function. So it was an impromptu arrangement that I should come and represent him. I've gone through the topic for discussion for today. I'm very confident with the caliber of people that are in this committee. I'm sure justice will be done to this very issue. I myself, I was a former member of the House for 16 years. Most of them are my colleagues. In the 8th Assembly, I chaired a committee that has to do with refineries, and the discoveries there are so terrible what we saw. So in every of these sessions of the National Assembly, this has been a recurring decimal. Every house must have this issue. The issue of petroleum subsector, the more you dip yourself into it, the more you get confused. As you rightly said, the oil sector is being organized at times, or most of the times, like organized crime. That's why today we have a lot of confusion going on between the Dangote and NNPC and many others. So this, with the caliber of people that are in this committee, I'm sure you are going to do justice to your findings. I hope the government will have the will to implement your recommendations. So I wish you happy deliberation and successful session. Thank you.
I represent the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, His Excellency, Senator Dr. George Akume, COL. I have a written speech from the SGF. He would have loved to be here, but has a very pressing national assignment this morning that is going on with some important government officials. I have a speech and I will read. I stand before you today deeply honored to address this distinguished gathering on a matter of grave national importance, the pervasive issue of oil theft and the resultant losses in our national economy, especially in the vital oil and gas sector, as well as the substantial expenses incurred by our government in combating this menace. Nigeria, blessed with abundant natural resources, particularly crude oil, has faced persistent challenges in harnessing these resources for the collective prosperity of our people. Oil theft, a malignant scourge, continues to undermine our national economy, compromise our security, and erode the trust of both local and international stakeholders. Indeed, the magnitude of oil theft in Nigeria is staggering. In recent years, Nigeria has faced an alarming rise in crude oil theft, resulting in substantial losses that have devastating implications for our economy and the national security. The statistics are staggering. For instance, the Nigeria Electric Industries Transparency Initiative, NEITI, 2020 oil and gas report indicates that 619 million barrels of crude oil valued at $46 billion were stolen in the period between 2009 and the year 2020. Therefore, Nigeria has continually failed to meet its daily production quota as set by the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, that's OPEC. This not only undermines our revenues, but also hampers the provision of essential services that millions of Nigerians rely upon. The government has invested considerable resources in combating this menace. Since 2020, expenditure aimed at addressing crude oil theft and securing our oil infrastructure has exceeded $1.5 billion. These funds have been allocated towards enhancing surveillance capabilities, securing pipelines, and increasing the presence of law enforcement agencies in critical oil producing areas. Thus, the hearing marks a pivotal step in our concerted efforts to confront this issue head-on. It is a demonstration of government's unwavering commitment to transparency, accountability, and the rule of law. Today we come together not only to scrutinize the extent of oil theft and its implications, but also to chart a course for comprehensive solutions that will safeguard our national wealth. To this end, we are implementing a multifaceted approach that encompasses robust legislation, enhanced security measures, and community engagement. This exercise is expected to strengthen our legal framework to ensure that those who engage in oil theft and related offenses face the full wrath of law. Our security agencies are undergoing continuous training and capacity building to stay ahead of evolving threats. Additionally, we are fostering stronger partnerships with oil companies, civil society organizations, and our international allies to create a united front against oil theft. Ladies and gentlemen, as we deliberate on the findings and recommendations from this investigative hearing, let us remain steadfast in our resolve to eradicate oil theft. Let us prioritize the development of a sustainable oil and gas sector that benefits all Nigerians, ensuring that our nation's wealth is used to uplift the lives of our people and drive economic growth. In conclusion, therefore, I call upon all stakeholders to actively participate in this discourse, to share their insights, and to contribute to the formulation of actionable strategies. Together, we can create a future where Nigeria oil wealth is harnessed responsibly and equitably, free from the clutches of oil theft and corruption. Thank you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The Committee on Petroleum Upstream, we don't have a difference between the House of Reps and the Senate. We work as a team. So when I was called upon to come here to witness what is happening here, I know we've been working like that, like Siamese twins. Petroleum and oil theft in Nigeria for us has been a factor that has brought us to where we are. Everything you see us do is how do we increase production? How do we increase production? And one of the critical areas that we can increase production is how we curb the oil thefts. It has an economic sabotage. It has destroyed Nigeria. It has brought us down. It has reduced our production. It is not the responsibility only the players alone. It is the responsibility of all Nigerians to team up to fight this menace. For us, it is a national problem. And if all of us team up with the relevant agencies, I think we will get it right. And if we get it right, our production will go high. And if our production goes high, the issue of solving our problems will be a thing of the past. Nigeria will not be where we are. For us, it is very important and critical. So, if you're here, please feel free. We are not here to probe anybody. We are here to look at a critical factor that has brought Nigeria to where we are. We need to increase production. We need to do well. We need to do like every other nation. Cost of production in Nigeria is high because we have to face security issues. So, for my brother and for my colleagues here, thank you for organizing this. Thank you. This is critical. And for every stakeholder here, you're welcome. We'll say, enjoy yourself. Please be truthful to us and speak to us. Thank you very much.
I will try to do a little deviation from what people have said or have come to say here. First, to appreciate the Speaker for putting up this committee and believing that this committee is going to give us a lasting solution of the problem in this industry and sector. I believe in the capacity of the chairman. I believe in his courage. I believe in the capacity of the people who are going to work with him as my colleagues, because I know more than 75% of them one-on-one. And I know and I appreciate that this is the best time possibly we are going to have as far as this problem is concerned. I want to believe that we need this problem solved because of the issues raised by our brother, the distinguished senator, and other colleagues who have mentioned. Oil theft have brought Nigeria down, and it has caused us embarrassment, national embarrassment, international embarrassment. And I have my reason for saying so. It's because of the embarrassment that we have gotten ourselves through that other forces have to be deployed to come, not in what is called non-kinetic, bringing in civilians to come and sort out issues on this particular front. We heard from the SGF the amount of money and quantum of money being expended. $1.5 billion is no small amount of money. But have we gotten the result? Not yet there. And I want to say that the best we can do for ourselves is to be courageous. I know my brother, listen to me, sir, Chairman, I want to talk to you. You are holding and doing a business that is very dangerous. This work they have given you is more than dangerous. Don't take it that it's going to be likely, it's going to be easy for you and easy for the committee members, because you are going to face people who are sabotaging Nigerian economy. In other line, they are supposed to go to the gallows, death penalty. And I can say as a former presiding officer, the information available that I saw is too dangerous. I remember a day when I was presiding and I was dealing with a motion brought by some of our colleagues on a yacht that was destroyed by the Nigerian Navy. They brought a motion. How did it happen? It was among those saboteurs of the Nigerian economy. But now we have a legislator bringing to the parliament to ask for investigation, not to ask for prosecution. At the end of the day, I rule and I said whatever it is. When the House ruled in the favor, I said to our colleagues that as far as I'm concerned, this is a very dangerous trend that we are following. And at the end of the day, somebody was watching me on television, and he now had to send words of me, commendation, to thank me, to appreciate me for what I did, for the comments I said. I am not here to take personal glory, but I want to charge you and I want to implore you that what you are going to do, you are going to help Nigeria. And in helping Nigeria, a lot has to be done in terms of sacrifices. They may go after you in terms of your personal luxury. They may go after your life. They may go after everything. But God is control. He will shield you. He will protect you. He will allow you to do the things that will help this country. And by the grace of God, we are going to succeed. I want to believe that a lot has happened. I said national embarrassment. I want to commend the security agents who are doing patriotically doing their job to protect our sovereignty and our fatherland, our economic activity in the country. But there are some, I must be frank with you. Read the DSS report, read their report very well, collaborate with them. You will get a lot of information. This thing we are talking about is not rocket science. The people who are sympathizing this in this space are known. They are known by names, they are known by companies, they are known by account details. Let us not pretend to this matter. If we pretend to this matter, we may never solve the problem. I say collaborate with Nigerian Department of State Security Service. You will have every information, and I believe there's every information available for us to work to solve this problem and to stop this menace. We have to do it, and I want to commend when the chairman of the party was saying he hoped the government will implement. I think that was courageous in terms of seeing facts and approaching and directing their approaches. Is President Ahmed Tinubu. I don't want to believe, and I will not believe, that whatever recommendation will come out of this house, he will implement. He will implement. Take note of what he has done in terms of the petroleum industry, the first announcement he made, that today we are grappling with. But I believe at the end of the day, we are going to celebrate, and Nigeria will celebrate at the end of the day. These are the part of courageous decisions he has taken. And I want to believe he will do that. He will do this, and this is the best time. I have a lot to mention. I'm here as a guest, and I believe that I should be frank, having gotten the opportunity. Nigeria have done more than enough for me. To have risen to the position of this speaker, I want to thank Nigerians. I want to thank Nigerian Parliament. And that is why I will always speak differently in terms of what people think. Mine is gratitude to God. I appreciate what God has done to me. And I want us all to appreciate that those of you who are parliamentarians, 360, 109, we are special people before God. God has given us this trust on behalf of many million Nigerians. And the only thing we can do to appreciate God, to say, God, thank you for what you have done to us, is to ensure at all points, at all times, we do the right thing and let the right thing be our own focus, and let's be focused. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me to speak. I want to appreciate, and I want to also...
A subtle motion that I move and crave the indulgence of the members of the committee that we allow the Speaker of the Federal House of Representatives, who is our special guest here and has the responsibility to declare this public hearing open, to speak from where he...
Very special and too numerous to mention one after the other. Kindly permit me to stand on the existing protocol that has been well established by the Master of Ceremony and frequently repeated by the Chairman of this special committee. I'm aware you've been here since 10 o'clock, so the more we abridge some of these protocols, the better time we'll save for all of us. Let me start by replying the chairman of this special committee who tried to complain about the red cap on the head of the chairman of the party. Let me mention that that red cap is in solidarity with the southeastern people who are celebrating now that the president, after 54 years, gave them Southeast Development Commission. So it's in solidarity with our gratitude. So I urge most of you who have your own red caps at home, please wear it on our behalf. we are happy with Mr. President that he has broken a jinx of 54 years. Now, reconciliation, the rehabilitation that was promised, the reconstruction that was promised after the war has come to be. And my people are happy and we are grateful. So if you have your red cap, boldly wear it. There is no better time to wear a red cap than now. I bring you greetings from Yan Zhao Zhao, my boss, Tajuddin Abbas, PhD, His Excellency, the Speaker of the 10th House of Representatives, who would have been here if not because of all their very important and urgent national assignment that he has stepped out to attend to. Today, the wordings will remain his in these remarks, but the voice will be mine. So you have credit to give, and the content of this remark, give to my boss. I am delighted to welcome you all to this important public investigative hearing on oil theft and losses being hosted by the Special Committee on Oil Theft and Losses. This special committee was inaugurated on the 22nd of November 2023 to especially and essentially determine the immediate and remote causes of oil theft and recommend appropriate remedial measures to the House of Representatives. As I noted on that occasion, the inauguration of the committee was to underscore our unwavering commitment to protect the nation's resources for the good of all citizens and deal decisively with the perpetrators of oil theft, vandalism, and other criminalities in the oil and gas sector. The committee was charged to investigate oil theft in all ramifications, focusing on the actions of criminal gangs, militia groups, local communities, companies, and security agencies. Let me therefore sincerely thank the Honorable Chairman and members of the committee for their commitment, for their patriotism, for their diligence, and the sense of urgency with which they have, in the process of their work, carried these all-important national assignments. May I also express my deep appreciation to government agencies, industry players, security agencies, civil society organizations, the media, and other stakeholders for responding to this invitation to participate in this public investigative hearing. I believe that your contributions and cooperations at this hearing will help the committee deliver on its mandate. As you are all aware, Nigeria depends largely on oil for its national revenue. While the present administration is doing everything possible to diversify the economy and ensure significant revenue generation in the non-oil sectors of the economy, government is not relenting in the effort to rid the oil and gas sector of corruption and all forms of criminality. The statistics on crude oil theft is very alarming, and its negative impact on the economy is quite monumental. For instance, it is estimated that between January and July 2024, Nigeria lost an average of 137,000 barrels of crude oil per day due to theft, vandalism, and other criminal activities. At the current price of oil, this translates to over $10 billion over this period of 7 months. I wonder how a government that loses about $10 billion in 7 months will be expected to meet up with its responsibilities for the citizens. So when the people cry on the streets, it's because they have lost hope in the oil and gas sector. There is no magic this government can do without being energized by the core source of our revenue, which is the oil and gas sector, from where it is supposed to meet the obligations of his administration. No magic at all. So for those who are on the streets waiting for the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to do magic, he cannot do it from his pocket. He will do it from the national pocket. And the national pocket is bleeding. $10 billion, 7 months. This calls for attention. For those who want to protest on the streets, they should know that this government is losing $10 billion every 7 months. And that is why this all-important investigative public hearing, the need for it cannot be overemphasized. Apart from reduced government revenues to address the multifaceted challenges of national development, or the problems associated with crude oil theft include environmental degradation, heightened insecurity in the form of piracy, in the form of kidnapping, the form of militancy and vandalism, and the shutdown of production by many companies, among others. The reduction in government revenue has invariably been responsible for government borrowing to address budget deficits over the years. Unfortunately, this has astronomically raised the debt burden of the country, while also denying the country the optimal capacity for growth and development. If we must make progress as a nation, renew the hope of Nigerians and meet their yearnings, this appalling situation cannot be allowed to continue unabated. This is even more compelling in the view of the commitment of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR to increase oil production to 2.6 million barrels per day by 2027 and 4 million barrels per day by 2030. Most distinguished invited guests and honorable colleagues, to achieve these targets, the President had promised to ensure collaboration between security agencies and oil industry operators to stem the tide of oil theft. It is against the backdrop of this declaration that the President recently directed the Chief of Defense Staff to deal decisively with oil theft and pipeline vandalism within the shortest possible time in order to restore national production to the level befitting the status of Nigeria as one of the largest oil producers in the world. It is gratifying to note that the Chief of Defense Staff has responded swiftly to Mr. President's directives, and I'm hopeful that the current efforts will yield positive results. Recently, too, the administration approved the procurement of advanced solution technology to track every cargo of crude oil loaded in Nigeria up to its destination. This technology is expected to significantly curb oil theft and diversion. Most distinguished colleagues, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, another nagging issue in the oil and gas sector which must be tackled is corruption, and sadly so. Sadly, corruption has inflicted serious damage to the national economy through cumulative loss of revenue over the years. Many people assigned to serve the nation have decided to serve themselves to the detriment of the commonwealth of this nation. It is sad that when the blame comes out from the streets of Nigeria, it goes to one man, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But when the proceeds come from corruption, it goes to the pockets of those who are the enemies of the Commonwealth. Like the Deputy Speaker said, we know them. They are not ghosts. Through this investigation, they will be revealed. And Nigeria will be saved. And that is what is supposed to be, because that is the duty of the Parliament. Consequently, this public hearing will also focus attention on all expenses incurred by government agencies for the purpose of combating oil theft and other related matters in line with Section 80, Section 88, Section 89 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. Ladies and gentlemen, it is also in line with our resolve in the House of Representatives to entrench transparency and accountability in governance process. We are therefore committed to providing comprehensive coverage for investigative hearing on anti-corruption issues and follow through with implementation of committee recommendations through the power of the purse, oversight functions, and lawmaking. It is important to note that as the chairman of the committee of the whole which the Deputy Speaker occupies, he will be looking at various reports that will be coming from all the committees of the House. And I have ensured, I've also informed the committee chair that every I that is dotted and every T that is crossed in this report will be read by my office. And we will make sure that the desire of Nigerians through this investigation will be that which is transparent enough to reflect the findings of this committee that we have great confidence in. And I'm sure that at the end of this investigation, Nigerians will be proud that the taxpayers' money used for the Parliament is yielding value to the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We are also determined to strengthen the Economic and Financial Crime Commission, EFCC, the Nigerian Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, the NIT, and other anti-corruption agencies to frontally combat corruption in the oil and gas sector. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me at this point thank all stakeholders for answering our call to participate in this public and investigative hearing. This public hearing affords us the unique opportunity for partnership in our collective efforts to address all the dreadful challenges that have affected the progress in the oil and gas sector over the years. May I assure you that the recommendations of this special committee will receive priority attention and expeditious legislative action by the House of Representatives. Before I round up, with the power vested in me as the Deputy Speaker of the House, representing the Speaker of the House in this particular occasion, having had the presentation of the former Deputy Speaker of the House and how he has content and in-depth knowledge of what we intend to achieve. And I heard him mention that he is a guest to this committee. I hereby resolve that the Parliament, the House of Representatives, will have you co-opted into this committee as a full member of this committee from henceforth. We expect that you bring in your wealth of experience to bear, not as a guest of this committee, made as a full member of this committee. We need your experience to help us navigate the murky waters of this investigation. And we appreciate your boldness and courage in the way you intervene on national issues. So Nigeria will have you play a role in this committee. It is on this note that I now have honor and privilege to declare this public investigative hearing open. I thank you for your kind attention. God bless you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.